This past week, federal court judge Charles Breyer ruled that the California National Guard troops still deployed to the city of Los Angeles must be returned back to the control of Governor Gavin Newsom. Remember, this past summer, President Donald Trump seized control of the Guard, deploying several thousand National Guard troops during the ICE protests downtown. That number is down to several hundred. The Trump administration says it will appeal the decision on Monday and said in a statement they expect the Ninth Circuit to overturn the ruling. One city that has been involved in that lawsuit and plenty of others is the city of Los Angeles. Hydee Feldstein Soto is the Los Angeles city attorney. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So you were involved in this this lawsuit that Judge Breyer dealt with. To what degree?
Well, we have submitted declarations that provided the evidence for the Attorney General's lawsuit. The court actually, Judge Breyer cited the evidence we submitted in the declaration from our own police officer, I think not less than 7 times in the opinion issued. We have filed amicus briefs, often on very short notice, at both the trial court level and the Ninth Circuit, and in connection with the appeal to the Supreme Court.
From where you sit, this lawsuit will make its way up to the Ninth. There's lawsuits regarding the deployment of troops to Oregon. There are lawsuits regarding deployment of National Guard troops to Illinois. This issue will end up before the U.S. Supreme Court.
I think it's very likely that it will, yes, sir.
And fundamentally, it's the 10th Amendment that we're looking at, states' rights.
It is also a statutory issue of how do you call up the National Guard. Under our system of government, 2 things are true. You're not supposed to deploy the military against the domestic population, and yet that is what this administration did with the Marines here in L.A. And the National Guard is supposed to be under the control of the governor of each state.
This is one of multiple lawsuits you have against the administration. One, you've joined several other cities with regard to the deployment of immigration agents to the streets of Los Angeles. What is the status of that?
The Perdomo case is the one you're referring to, I believe. We organized, I actually was very proud to lead a coalition of 22 cities in the county of L.A. in an action to assert our own rights and our claims that was initiated to protect individuals and organizations. So right now we are in discovery before Judge Frimpong here in the Central District of California. I believe the first deposition was yesterday, and discovery is expected to continue into the new year.
And the likelihood of that prevailing? This is a U.S., assuming it makes it to the Supreme Court, this is a Supreme Court that's given broad parameters to executive control.
Yes, it has, but one can always hope, particularly when it comes to the immigration law, that upon proper briefing and a proper showing of the facts, that the center of the court will hold. Because after all, immigration in this country is a civil proceeding, not a criminal proceeding. And the tactics that have been used by the federal administration are tactics that are really only to quell an insurrection or to round up criminal gangs.
You have other litigation against this Trump administration. One of it regards revenue sharing money that he's withholding for the city, some $56 million in one case. What specifically does that deal with, and what is the likelihood of success?
I like to think the likelihood of success is quite high. We have several of these actions to protect transportation funds and housing funds. I'll tell you first, we are filing a report today, a public report with City Council that details all of the actions we have taken in connection with the Trump administration. So it will be on file, and we are protecting transportation dollars and federal grants for the airport expansion, for our highways. We are protecting housing dollars for our affordable housing, and we are proceeding apace to establish the principle that the control of the purse strings at the federal level starts with the House of Representatives, not with the president's executive order.
Getting back to the ICE protests downtown, how much litigation are we still looking at from the police actions there?
I expect there to be additional litigation to come.
Let me talk to you about one particular one. The Los Angeles Press Club is not happy with you, and as a member, I can understand why, to this degree. There were occasions where police seemed to fire non-lethal projectiles at reporters. We have it on tape, on video, somebody doing a story, and then boom, they get in the back of the leg. And there wasn't a skirmish taking place. There was, and it looked like it was just a harassment. There was a federal judge who agreed with that assessment, issued essentially an injunction, told the police to stop firing those projectiles at reporters. You argued to lift that order. And I'm wondering, what was your rationale for that?
Actually, thank you for the opportunity to sort of correct the record.
Okay.
Number one, no one wants the police to be firing at or hitting reporters, especially me. Okay, that is not a defensible position. I'm going to stand with freedom of the press as well as the safety of peaceful protesters. But look at it from my vantage point. I cannot have a situation where various courts issue injunctions with differing standards. I cannot have a situation where the injunction that is issued purports to bind the LAPD only, but then makes my city responsible for every other law enforcement agency operating within our parameters on any call for mutual aid. I cannot have a situation where the standard for the use of less lethal weapons is conflated and becomes the same standard as deadly force. Because at that point, you take all of the tools for de-escalation away from the Los Angeles Police Department and leave us with nothing but fists or guns. And that's not a good result.
Right. But did you explain that to the city council? Because they are your clients, and they voted 12-0 to ask you not to proceed with having this, this court order removed. The
buck stops with me. I will simply say that I had COVID for 2 weeks in October, and that I came back to the office the day before City Council took its action. I've tried to explain it to them since then. We have appealed the preliminary injunction, although we did not get a stay. And we are really focused on, at this point, a meet and confer with the plaintiffs, because as long as they scale back the parts of it that make it impossible for the LAPD to operate within their policies, I think we may well resolve some of the issues.
Hydee Feldstein Soto is the city attorney for the city of Los Angeles. Thank you very much for taking
Thank you, sir.
I appreciate it.
Nice to be here.